The large screen in the meeting room showed stars that no human had ever seen up close before. Han Ta stood with his hands behind his back, trying to look calm. Inside, his heart was racing. After all, it wasn't every day that humans met aliens for the first time. "They're coming out of light speed now," said the technician. The room fell silent. 6 diplomats, 3 scientists, and 2 military officers all held their breath. This moment would change human history forever. The alien ship appeared on screen. It was smooth and curved, unlike the blocky human ships. It glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. "Open the communication channel," Han said. The alien that appeared on screen looked almost like a tall human, but with purple skin and 4 arms. It spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Ambassador Zoll of the Galactic Senate. We have been watching your development with great interest." And just like that, humanity learned they were not alone. 3 weeks later, Han Ta sat at a massive round table in a room filled with creatures from across the galaxy. Some had tentacles, others had wings, and a few were just clouds of gas in special containers. The Galactic Senate building floated in space, a neutral meeting ground for the 237 spacefaring species that made up the Great Alliance. Commander Kim Ju sat beside Han, his military uniform crisp and perfect. He hadn't said much since they arrived, but his eyes missed nothing. "As is custom," said the Senate Speaker, a tall insect-like being, "we will now explain how conflicts are managed in civilized space." Han leaned forward. This was important information. The speaker continued, "War, as you primitives know it, is wasteful and destructive. In the Senate, we have developed a more refined approach. All conflicts between species are settled through regulated warfare, with clear rules." Images appeared above the table showing ships in neat formations, firing weapons in what looked almost like a dance. Each battle has set rules. A specific number of ships, agreed-upon weapons, a chosen location away from populated areas. The winner gains the disputed territory or resources. The loser accepts the outcome without further conflict. Commander Kim raised an eyebrow, but remained silent. "This system has kept peace for over 12,000 years," the speaker said proudly. "No total wars, no destruction of homeworlds, no mass extinction events." Han nodded. "This seems very sensible." A representative from a species that looked like a walking tree spoke up. "We notice your species has a particularly violent history. Will you be able to adapt to our civilized ways?" Han smiled diplomatically. "We are eager to learn your methods." Commander Kim finally spoke, his voice quiet but clear. "May I ask a question?" The room turned to look at him. "Of course," said the speaker. "These battle regulations, are they available for us to study?" "Certainly. The War Conduct Manual is available to all Senate members. Earth will receive provisional membership status after this meeting." Kim nodded. "Thank you." After the meeting, as they walked back to their quarters, Han turned to Kim. "You've been quiet all day. What are you thinking?" Kim's face was unreadable. They'd been fighting the same way for thousands of years. "Isn't that good? It means the system works." Kim stopped walking. "It means no one has tried anything new for thousands of years." Han frowned. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," Kim replied, looking out at the vast array of alien ships docked at the Senate station, "that we should hope no one picks a fight with Earth anytime soon. But as they would soon learn, the galaxy was not always a peaceful place, and humanity's claim to their home system and their new colonies would not go unchallenged for long." 6 months after first contact, Earth had changed. New technologies from the Galactic Senate helped humans build better ships and travel faster between stars. Earth had claimed 3 nearby star systems and started small colonies on habitable planets. People looked to the stars with hope instead of wonder. Han Ta sat in the Earth Embassy on the Senate station, reading reports from the new colonies. The door slid open with a hiss. Commander Kim Ju walked in, his face serious. "We have a problem," Kim said, putting a data pad on Han's desk. Han picked it up and frowned. "The Vorax Empire. I haven't heard of them. They're a military power, not the biggest in the Senate, but strong. And now they say the Sol system and our 3 colony systems belong to them." Han stood up quickly. "That's ridiculous. We've lived in the Sol system for our entire history. They claim they surveyed these systems 300 years ago, which gives them first rights under Senate law." Han paced the room. "But that's before we even had proper telescopes. We need to talk to Senator Park." Senator Park G represented Earth in the Senate chamber. He was older than Han and Kim, with gray hair and a calm voice that commanded respect. Now he stood before the full Senate, facing the Vorax delegation. The Vorax were tall, muscular beings with thick red skin and bony plates on their heads. Their leader, High Commander Krell, stood with his arms crossed. "The claim is clear," Krell said to the Senate. "My people surveyed these systems 300 years ago. Under Senate law, we have prior claim." Park spoke carefully. "With respect, High Commander, humans have lived in the Sol system for over 300,000 years. It is our home. The other systems contain our first attempts at expansion. Surely there are other unclaimed systems your people could explore." The Senate Speaker raised all 4 of her hands. "According to our laws, both sides have valid claims. The Vorax have documented survey rights. The humans have continuous habitation rights to Sol, at minimum." Krell growled, "We will settle this the Senate way, one battle as the rules allow." Han felt his stomach sink. He looked at Commander Kim, who stood at the back of the chamber. Kim's face showed nothing, but his eyes were focused and alert. The speaker nodded. "As is tradition, a regulated battle will decide the dispute. It will take place in the uninhabited Proxima Centauri system in 3 Earth months. Both sides will have time to prepare according to regulations." After the session, Senator Park, Han, and Kim gathered in a private room. "This is bad," Park said. "The Vorax have fought hundreds of these regulated battles. We've never fought even one." Han looked worried. "Can we refuse?" "If we refuse, we automatically lose all 4 star systems," Park explained. "Even Earth." They both turned to Commander Kim, who had been silently looking out at the stars. "Commander," Park said, "what do you think?" Kim turned, his face now showing a slight smile. "I've been studying the War Conduct Manual since we arrived, all 6,000 pages of it." "And?" Han asked. "It was written thousands of years ago and has barely changed. It's full of outdated ideas and loopholes." Kim's eyes had a new light in them. "They expect us to fight like they do, by tradition and ceremony." Park looked concerned. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we fight like humans." Kim pulled out a data pad. "I'll need to select a small fleet and crew, and I'll need Engineer Choi Min." "Choi?" Han asked. "Why?" "Because she understands how to bend rules without breaking them." Kim looked at both men. "The Vorax and the Senate think this will be simple. They expect us to lose honorably." "And we won't?" Park asked. Commander Kim's smile grew slightly. "Oh, we'll follow every single rule in their book. But I promise you this, they have no idea what's coming." The Earth Defense Fleet base on the moon buzzed with activity. 7 ships sat in a large hangar. Workers moved around them like ants, adding new parts and testing systems. Commander Kim Ju stood on a platform, watching the work. Captain Lee Sun approached, saluting sharply. She was Kim's best ship captain and his new second-in-command for the mission. "Commander, all crew members have been selected as you requested," she said. Kim nodded. "Good. How are the ship modifications coming along?" "Engineer Choi says they'll be ready in time, but..." She hesitated. "But what, Captain?" "Sir, I don't understand why we're only taking 7 ships. Earth has 32 combat-ready vessels. The Vorax will bring 12. Kim smiled slightly. "Walk with me, Captain." They moved along the platform, looking down at the ships. The War Conduct Manual has very specific rules, Kim explained. Each species is allowed a certain number of ships based on their classification. The Voraks are a Class 3 military power, so they get 12 ships. And humans. We're new, so we're automatically Class 1. That means 7 ships maximum. Lee frowned. That doesn't seem fair. It's not meant to be. The older species made these rules to keep newer ones in their place. Kim stopped walking. But they made a mistake. What mistake? They assumed all species think the same way they do. Below them, Engineer Choi Min was directing workers around one of the ships. She was small but spoke with authority. The workers rushed to follow her instructions. What is Choi doing to the ships? Lee asked. Making them better while staying within the Senate's technical specifications. Kim handed Lee a datapad. These are images of Vorak ships from previous battles. Lee studied the images. The alien ships were large with many weapons on the outside. They looked powerful, but bulky. They always fight the same way, Kim said. They line up and fire at each other from a distance, like old sailing ships. It's all about who has the most guns and the strongest shields. And that's not how we'll fight. Kim's eyes showed a hint of excitement. No, we're going to show them something new. In another part of the base, Han Tai and Senator Park watched a hologram of the Vorax fleet. The red-skinned aliens moved with military precision on their ships. Their commander, Krell, has won 15 regulated battles, Park said. He's never lost. Han looked worried. Have you seen Kim's plan? Only parts of it. He's keeping most details secret, even from me. Can we trust him with the future of Earth? Park thought for a moment. I've known Kim for 20 years. He's not just smart. He understands how enemies think. The Voraks are confident they'll win, Han said. Their ambassador practically laughed when I tried to negotiate yesterday. Good, Park said. Let them be confident. On the lead ship, now named Surprise Asterisk, Commander Kim met with his battle team. Captain Lee stood next to the ship's pilot, Officer Ba. Tactical Officer Kang Du, a young man who had studied ancient Earth military history, pointed to a holographic map of the Proxima Centauri system. The battle zone will be here, near the 4th planet, Kang said. The Voraks will expect us to approach from this direction. He pointed to a straight line. It's what every species does. And we won't, Kim said. It wasn't a question. No, sir. We'll come in from below the system plane, like this. Kang showed a different approach. They won't expect that. Engineer Choi entered the room carrying a small device. It's done, she said, placing it on the table. The sensor package modifications are complete. They still meet Senate specifications, but they'll work the way you wanted. Kim picked up the device and smiled. Excellent. Is everything else on schedule? Yes, Commander, Choi said. All 7 ships will be ready in 2 weeks. Good. Kim looked at his team. The Voraks think this battle will be simple. They're wrong. We have one chance to show the galaxy what humans can do. Captain Lee squared her shoulders. We won't let Earth down, sir. Kim nodded. No, we won't. Because we're going to win. Han Tae's eyes hurt. He had been reading for 10 hours straight. Next to him, Yoon-da, Earth's top legal expert, looked just as tired. They sat in a small room in the Earth Embassy, surrounded by screens showing the Senate's War Conduct Manual. I found another one, Yoon said, pointing to a section on her screen. Look at Rule 5721. Han leaned over. The rule said, no ship may use cloaking technology during a regulated battle. What about it? Han asked. It defines cloaking as technology that makes a ship completely invisible to standard sensors. Yoon smiled. But it says nothing about being partially invisible or creating false sensor readings. Han nodded slowly. So we could make our ships look like something else. Exactly. Or make one ship look like 3 small ones. Yoon made a note. This manual was written 3,000 years ago and barely updated. The writers never imagined the tricks we might think of. Han rubbed his eyes. How many loopholes have we found now? 17 major ones. Probably more if we had more time. Will the Senate allow this? Using these loopholes? Yoon shrugged. They have to. Their whole system is based on following these rules exactly. If we stay within the letter of the law, they can't complain. On the asterisk, surprise asterisk, Captain Lee watched as Tactical Officer Kang ran battle simulations. The holographic display showed small ships moving in strange patterns. No one fights like this, Lee said. It looks chaotic. Kang nodded excitedly. That's the point. Every species in the Senate fights the same way, in neat formations, taking turns firing at each other. It's almost like a dance. And we won't dance. No, Captain. We'll fight like our ancestors did. Kang pulled up images of old Earth battles. Like wolves hunting deer, like guerrilla fighters. Hit and run. Confuse them. Make them panic. Lee studied the simulation. The Voraks have fought hundreds of these battles. Won't they adapt? They might try, but they've been fighting the same way for generations. It's hard to change your thinking that quickly. Kang pointed to the Vorak ships in the simulation. Look how they always regroup into the same formations. It's instinct for them now. Commander Kim stood in a large chamber with Engineer Choi. They were looking at a missile cut in half to show the inside. It's beautiful work, Kim said. The Senate inspectors won't find anything wrong with it. Choi shook her head. No, it meets every specification in the manual. Standard size, standard fuel, standard explosive power. But, Choi smiled, but I've redesigned the guidance system. It doesn't just go in a straight line like theirs do. It can change direction multiple times. And the warhead? Yes. The manual says what explosives are allowed. It doesn't say how they should be shaped or focused. Choi pointed to the front of the missile. This will direct most of the force in one direction instead of all around. More damage with the same amount of explosive. Kim nodded. Perfect. What about the defense systems? Also within regulations, but better. Our shields will shift power automatically to where it's needed most. Choi looked proud. They expect our shields to be simple bubbles like theirs. These are smarter. Senator Park stood before the full crew of the 7 ships. 200 men and women in crisp uniforms listened carefully. You are about to fight the first battle humans have ever had in space, Park said. The future of Earth depends on you. Commander Kim stepped forward. You've all been chosen because you think differently. You solve problems in new ways. The Voraks and the Senate expect us to follow their traditions. We won't. He looked at each person. We will follow every rule in their book. But we will fight like humans. We will surprise them. We will win. The room was silent for a moment. Then Captain Lee stood up and called out, "For Earth." 200 voices echoed back, "For Earth." The Proxima Centauri system was quiet. Its red sun glowed softly against the black of space. Then 12 ships appeared from light speed. The Vorax fleet moved into position, arranging themselves in a perfect V shape. Their ships were large and covered in weapon ports that looked like angry eyes. High Commander Krell stood on the bridge of his flagship. His red skin looked even darker in the dim light. "Where are the humans?" he asked. "They should be here by now." His second-in-command checked the sensors. "No sign of them, Commander. Perhaps they have given up." Krell laughed. "That would be wise of them." Nearby, a large Senate observation ship watched. Inside, representatives from 20 different species had gathered to watch the battle. Most had never seen humans fight before and were curious. "The humans are late," said a tall, blue alien. "Is that allowed?" The Senate official checked his datapad. "They have 10 more minutes before they forfeit." Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Multiple ships detected, called out a sensor operator. Coming from below the system plane. On all the screens, 7 human ships appeared. They weren't in any formation that the observers recognized. Instead, they seemed scattered, almost random in their positioning. "What are they doing?" asked the blue alien. "That's not a proper battle formation." The Senate official frowned. "It's unusual, but not against regulations." On the surprise asterisk, Commander Kim sat calmly in his command chair. Captain Lee stood beside him. "All ships report ready," she said. "The Voraks are in exactly the position we expected." Kim nodded. "Open a channel to High Commander Krell." The screen lit up, showing Krell's face. He looked confused by the human ship's positions. "High Commander," Kim said politely, "as required by Senate regulations, I offer you the chance to withdraw your claim before battle begins." Krell sneered. "Never. Your strange formation will not save you, human. We have fought hundreds of battles. This is your first." "Yes, it is," Kim agreed. "Our first, but not our last. We look forward to showing you how humans fight." Krell seemed taken aback by Kim's confidence. He recovered quickly. "Then let the battle begin. May the stronger force win." Kim smiled slightly. "May the smarter force win." The communication ended. Kim turned to his crew. "You all know the plan. Execute." In the Senate observation ship, the officials were checking their instruments. "I'm getting strange energy readings from the human vessels," one said, "but they're still within acceptable limits." "Their shields are fluctuating," another noted. "Is something wrong with their systems?" The lead observer shook his head. "No, I believe they're doing it on purpose." "But why?" The countdown to battle started. In Galactic Senate rules, there was always a 1-minute countdown before combat could begin. This was tradition, meant to give both sides time for final preparations. On the Vorax flagship, Krell watched the countdown. "Prepare all weapons. Target the largest human ship first." His weapons officer nodded. "All ships are locked on target." Krell smiled, showing sharp teeth. "This will be quick." Commander Kim watched the same countdown. He looked completely relaxed. "All ships confirm Stage 1 is ready," Captain Lee reported. "Good." Kim glanced at Tactical Officer Kang. "Have they noticed yet?" Kang shook his head. "No, sir. They're still focused on our largest ships." "Excellent." Kim turned to Engineer Choi, who was monitoring the modified systems. "Shields ready to shift." "Yes, Commander. Everything is working perfectly." The countdown reached 0. Kim leaned forward slightly. "Now, we show the galaxy how humans fight. Begin." All 7 human ships suddenly powered up to full speed, but each went in a different direction. The Vorax fleet, expecting them to advance in formation, hesitated. In the observation ship, the Senate officials looked at each other in confusion. "What are they doing?" one asked. The battle had begun, and already nothing was going as expected. High Commander Krell watched in confusion as the human ships scattered in all directions. This was not how battles were fought. The Vorax ships remained in formation, waiting for the humans to form up properly. "What are they doing?" Krell demanded. "They're supposed to form a battle line." His second-in-command looked equally confused. "Perhaps they don't know the proper way to fight, Commander." "Then we will teach them. Target the nearest ship and fire." The Vorax ships began firing at the human vessels, but hitting them proved difficult. The human ships moved in unpredictable patterns, speeding up and slowing down at random times. On the surprise asterisk, Commander Kim nodded as the first phase of his plan worked perfectly. "The Vorax are staying in formation," reported Captain Lee. "They're firing but missing most shots." "Good. Begin Phase 2, Kim ordered. 3 human ships suddenly dove toward the Proxima Centauri star. The Vorax ships turned to follow them. "They took the bait," Tactical Officer Kang said with a smile. "Their sensors will be affected by the star's radiation now." Kim nodded. "Release the missile clouds." In the Senate observation ship, the officials watched in growing alarm. "The humans are using the star's radiation to mask their movements," one said. That's never been done before. Another observer pointed to a new reading. What are those? Hundreds of small objects just appeared from the human ships. They look like missiles, but they're too small, and they're just floating there. Krell's ship shook as it was hit by a volley of fire from a human ship that seemed to appear out of nowhere. How did they get so close? Krell roared. Where did they come from? Our sensors were blinded by the star's radiation, his officer replied. And these readings? There are hundreds of small objects all around us. What objects? They appear to be tiny missiles, but they're not moving. They're just floating in space like a cloud. Krell slammed his fist on his chair. Ignore them. Continue firing at the human ships. Suddenly, 2 Vorax ships reported severe damage. They had been hit by missiles that seemed to come from the floating cloud. The small objects are launching at us. Krell's weapons officer shouted. Their proximity mines disguised as debris. Mines activated. Engineer Choi reported on the asterisk surprise asterisk. 2 Vorax ships have lost engines. Kim nodded. Perfect. Now for Phase 3. He turned to Captain Lee. Tell the asterisk swift asterisk to begin its performance. The smallest human ship, the asterisk swift asterisk, suddenly began venting gas and flashing its emergency lights. It drifted, appearing damaged and helpless. 3 Vorax ships broke formation to move in for an easy kill. As they approached, the asterisk swift asterisk suddenly powered up and fired targeted missiles at each ship's engine section. 2 more Vorax ships lost power and drifted in space. In the observation ship, the Senate officials were in shock. They're targeting propulsion systems, not command centers, one said. No one does that. And look at this, another added. They're venting reactor plasma deliberately to create sensor-confusing clouds. They're fighting like animals. This isn't proper warfare. 17 minutes into the battle, 3 Vorax ships were completely disabled, and 2 more were severely damaged. The human fleet had lost only 1 ship, and even that was a deliberate sacrifice to draw in Vorax vessels. Krell's flagship shook again as it took another hit. We can't hit them, his weapons officer cried. They won't stay still long enough. This is not how battles are fought. Krell shouted in frustration. They're supposed to form up and exchange fire in an orderly manner. His communications officer looked up in shock. Commander, 2 more of our ships have lost power. And the humans are hailing us. Krell's face darkened with anger. Put them on screen. Commander Kim appeared, looking calm. Hi, Commander Krell. 5 of your ships are disabled. Would you like to surrender now, or should we continue? This is not proper warfare, Krell snarled. You fight without honor. Kim's expression didn't change. We fight to win. Your answer, please. Krell looked around at his damaged bridge, then back at the human. We will continue. Kim nodded. As you wish. The human ships moved again, this time in a tight formation that no one had seen before. They were not following any known battle plan from the Senate manual. And for the first time in his long career, High Commander Krell felt afraid. The battle entered its 42nd minute. The Vorax fleet was in chaos. 8 of their 12 ships drifted powerless in space. Their engines were dead, but their life support still worked. The crews inside were alive but unable to fight. The remaining 4 Vorax ships had formed a tight circle, trying to protect each other. But they looked like frightened animals surrounded by wolves. Commander Kim watched from the asterisk surprise asterisk with a calm expression. Status report, he said. Captain Lee checked her screen. We've lost the asterisk swift asterisk and the asterisk thunder asterisk. Both crews safely evacuated to escape pods. No human casualties. Kim nodded. And the Vorax. No confirmed casualties on their side either. Tactical Officer Kang said. Just as you planned. Sir. Good. Open a channel to High Commander Krell again. Krell appeared on screen. The Vorax commander looked shocked and angry. His bridge was dark, with emergency lights flashing. "High Commander," Kim said politely. "You have 4 ships remaining. We have 5. Your position is hopeless. Will you surrender now?" Krell's red face turned darker. "This is not warfare. This is humans showing you how we fight," Kim said simply. "Your answer, please." A long moment passed. Then Krell's shoulders slumped. "I surrender. The battle is yours." "Thank you, High Commander. The Senate officials will record your surrender." Kim ended the transmission and turned to his crew. "Well done, everyone. Battle over." A cheer went up on the bridge of the Surprise. After just 42 minutes, humans had won their first space battle. In the Senate observation ship, the officials were silent. They had never seen anything like this before. They disabled the Vorax fleet without killing anyone, one observer said quietly. "How is that possible?" "They targeted engines and power systems instead of weapons or command centers," another replied. "It's actually less deadly than our traditional approach." "But it's not how battles are supposed to be fought," said the lead observer. "They used tricks and traps." "Nothing they did broke the rules," said a small green alien who had been quiet until now. "I've checked every action against the War Conduct Manual. They followed the letter of every regulation. But not the spirit," the lead observer insisted. "The spirit is not in the rules," the green alien said. After the battle, Commander Kim met with High Commander Krell on the Senate ship. Senate rules required the winning and losing commanders to meet face to face. Krell looked at Kim with confusion and anger. "Why did you fight that way? Why didn't you follow proper battle procedures?" Kim looked surprised. "We followed every regulation in the manual. We used allowed weapons, allowed shields, and allowed tactics. But no one fights like that." "We do," Kim said simply. "For humans, the goal of battle is to win with the least loss of life on both sides. We don't see the point in lining up and shooting at each other until one side can't fight anymore." Krell shook his head. "I have fought in 15 battles. Never have I seen such chaos." "Controlled chaos," Kim corrected. "Every move was planned. Every tactic was practiced. We studied your previous battles and knew exactly how you would respond." Krell looked shocked. "You studied us?" "Of course. That's what humans do before a fight. We learn everything we can about our opponent." Krell was silent for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "The galaxy has never seen anything like you before." Kim smiled slightly. "No, they haven't. And this was just one battle." In another room on the Senate ship, Senator Park and Han Ta watched recordings of the battle with growing concern. "They looked terrified," Han said, pointing to the alien observers' faces. Park nodded. "They are. We didn't just win a battle today. We showed them something they've never seen before." "Is that good or bad?" "I don't know," Park said. "But I think everything is about to change." The main Senate chamber was fuller than anyone could remember. Every seat was taken. Species from across the galaxy had come to discuss what happened in the battle between humans and the Vorax. The recordings had been shared everywhere. Speaker Zillith, the tall insect-like leader of the Senate, called for order. The loud buzz of voices slowly died down. "This emergency session will now begin," Zillith said. "We are here to discuss the recent regulated battle and its unusual outcome." Senator Park Ji and Diplomat Han Ta sat at the Earth section. Commander Kim stood behind them. On the other side of the chamber, the Vorax delegation looked angry and embarrassed. "The humans used tactics that have never been seen in regulated warfare," said a Vorax representative. "Their victory should be questioned." Speaker Zillith turned to the Senate's legal expert. "Did the humans break any rules in the War Conduct Manual?" The legal expert, an ancient blue alien with 6 eyes, spoke slowly. "We have reviewed all battle recordings carefully. The humans followed every written rule. Their weapons, shields, and ship numbers were all within allowed limits. But their tactics, The Vorax shouted. They fought like animals. Hanta stood up. With respect, we fought like humans. Different does not mean wrong. An old alien with gray skin and a long neck spoke next. In my 500 years, I have watched thousands of regulated battles. None have ever been fought this way. It is disturbing. Another alien nodded. They targeted engines instead of weapons. They used traps and tricks. This is not honorable combat. Senator Park stood. The manual does not mention honor. It mentions rules, which we followed. And may I point out that our approach resulted in 0 casualties on either side. Is that not better than the traditional approach? The chamber went quiet for a moment. A small green alien spoke up. They are right. No one died. In traditional battles, crews are often killed when command centers are hit. Perhaps there is something to learn from the human approach. Learn? A Vorax shouted. You want to learn how to fight like savages. The room erupted in argument again. Speaker Zilith called for order. Cultural liaison Bakji wishes to address the Senate, Zilith announced. A woman from Earth's delegation stood up. She was older than Han, with wise eyes and a calm voice. Species of the Senate, Buck began. I understand your shock. Let me explain something about humans. We evolved as persistence predators and problem solvers. When faced with a challenge, we look for creative solutions. We do not simply follow tradition for tradition's sake. She looked around the room. In our history, we have had many wars. Too many. We have learned that the goal of any conflict should be to end it quickly with minimal loss of life. What you saw as tricks and traps, we see as intelligence and efficiency. The Senate chamber was silent now, listening. Humans will always seek the smartest path, not the expected one. But continued. This is who we are. We cannot change our nature any more than the Vorax can change theirs. After she sat down, Speaker Zilith spoke. The Senate must now decide on 2 matters. First, the outcome of the battle. Second, what this means for future human involvement in regulated warfare. After hours of debate, the votes were cast. Speaker Zilith announced the results. The Senate recognizes the human victory over the Vorax. Earth's claim to the Sol system and its 3 colony systems is confirmed. A cheer went up from the Earth delegation. However, Zilith continued, and the room went quiet again. Due to the unprecedented nature of human warfare, this Senate has made a historic decision. Zilith looked directly at the humans. From this day forward, humans are banned from participating in regulated warfare. Any future disputes involving Earth must be resolved through Senate-mediated negotiation only. Han looked at Senator Park in shock. They're banning us from fighting. Park smiled slightly. After seeing what we can do, can you blame them? Commander Kim, standing behind them, said nothing. But his eyes showed he understood exactly what had just happened. Earth had just become the only species in the galaxy too dangerous to be allowed to fight. 1 year after the battle, the Earth embassy on the Senate station had tripled in size. Humans walked the halls with aliens from across the galaxy. But they weren't there as tourists or even just as diplomats. They were there as advisors. Commander Kim, now Admiral Kim, sat in a large office overlooking the main Senate chamber. Across from him sat 3 alien military leaders, taking notes as he spoke. The key is flexibility, Kim explained. Your battle plans must be able to change quickly when something unexpected happens. One of the aliens, a tall blue being, looked confused. But we have used the same formations for centuries. They are proven. They are predictable, Kim corrected gently. And in battle, being predictable is dangerous. After the aliens left, Captain Lee, now also an admiral, entered the office. Another theoretical military consultation, she asked with a smile. Kim nodded. The 5th this week. For species that banned us from fighting, they certainly want to learn how we do it. In another part of the station, Diplomat Han met with representatives from the Vorax Empire. Unlike a year ago, the red-skinned aliens were not angry or hostile. Instead, they were respectful, even friendly. Our engineers have studied your ship designs, said the lead Vorax. We are impressed by their efficiency. Han smiled. Thank you. Earth is happy to share our non-military technology with our allies. The Vorax leaned closer. And perhaps some theoretical concepts that could be applied to military vessels. For defensive purposes only, of course. Of course, Han said. I believe Admiral Kim has some time tomorrow for such theoretical discussions. Senator Park walked with Speaker Zillith through the Senate gardens. The insect-like leader had become an unexpected ally for Earth. Your people have changed the Senate more in 1 year than any species has in the last 1,000, Zillith said. Park looked around at the garden. Aliens of many species were talking, eating, and working together. Is that good or bad? Different, Zillith replied. But necessary. The Senate had become too fixed in its ways. Your people have made us question old habits. Even though you banned us from fighting. Zillith made a clicking sound that was his species' version of laughter. Especially because of that. We banned you officially, yet every species now seeks your military advice. It is an interesting paradox. Engineer Choi Min, now head of Earth's Technology Exchange Program, showed a group of alien engineers a new design on a large screen. This shield configuration provides 30% more protection using the same power, she explained. The aliens studied the design with interest. One asked, "Can this be used on military vessels?" "No," Choi said with a straight face. "This is purely for civilian ships. But theoretically, if someone wanted to adapt it for military use, they would need to add these components here." She pointed to a section of the design. The aliens nodded and took detailed notes. At the end of the day, Han, Park, and Kim met in a private room to discuss the day's events. 6 more species asked for military consultation today, Kim reported. And the Vorax are becoming our strongest supporters. They respect strength, Park said. And they've seen ours. Han looked at a datapad. The new trade agreements are very favorable for Earth, and 3 more colony systems have been approved without any challenges. All because no one wants to risk us finding a way around the war ban, Kim said with a slight smile. They don't understand humans very well, Park added. Telling us we can't do something just makes us find new ways to do it. A young messenger entered the room. Admiral Kim, the Krell is here to see you. The door opened, and High Commander Krell of the Vorax entered. Since the battle, he had become an unlikely friend to the humans, particularly to Kim. Admiral, Krell said with respect, I wanted to inform you personally. The Senate has just approved the new War Conduct Manual. The one that closes all the loopholes we used. Kim asked. Yes, it's 3 times longer than the old one. And who wrote most of the new sections? Park asked with a knowing smile. Human legal experts, Krell admitted. Who better to close loopholes than those who found them? Kim stood and offered his hand to Krell in the human greeting the Vorax had learned to accept. So the galaxy is safer now. Yes, Krell agreed, taking Kim's hand. But everyone knows the truth. What truth is that? Han asked. Krell looked at each human in turn. You haven't banned humans from war. You've banned war because of humans.